Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Value Your Values series. Today we're going to be reflecting on two questions. What are values? And where do they come from? I'm still working on my intro. If you have any suggestions or any feedback, please leave them in the comments below. Right, so I want to give you a little context about where this whole topic came from. So one day I was having a conversation with my friend, and somewhere in the context they made this comment and they said, all you have to be is a good person. Now bear in mind, this whole conversation was happening while we were in quarantine. I'm isolated from everyone. I don't have a job. I'm not working from home. I'm spending a lot of time with myself, therefore overthinking everything. So I found myself thinking a lot about this whole concept of being a good person. And I would just sit there and think and be like, that's so subjective. What does that even mean? How do I know if I'm a good person? Because their good is different to my good. My good is different to your good. So what is a good person? And after all the thinking and all the reflecting, I concluded and I was happy to accept that your definition of a good person is different to my definition of a good person. But what I wasn't happy to accept was the fact that I didn't have a definition of what was a good person. If I don't have a clear definition or a clear goal of what that is, how am I gonna get there? And that, my friends, is where the concept of values comes from. So after a lot of research, and by research I mean Googling, I came up with a layman's definition of what values are. So values are, the standards to guide our actions, judgments, attitudes, and help us determine what's right and what's wrong. So essentially, they are the set standards that we look to and refer to on a day-to-day basis every time we are faced with a decision between doing what's good or what's bad. Actually, rewind that 1 second. Look to and refer to on a day-to-day basis every time we are faced with the decision of choosing between what's good and what's better. Yeah, I like that more. The reason I say this is because we're human and we all have room for improvement. And I'd like to think that all of our hearts are clean and our intentions are good and we all strive to be good people. But I know that we could be better. So that's what I'm hoping we can work on when we understand what our values are and we really actively try to live up to them. Right, so now that we've covered what they are, let's move on to where they come from. Now, I'm not gonna go into the science, but I believe that all babies have an innate sense of what's good and what's bad, of what's right and what's wrong. And I also believe that adults have an innate sense of what's good and bad and right and wrong. However, as an adult, innate feelings are not the only factor we use. There are other external factors that influence our values and therefore influence what we see as good and bad, right? We learn these things. Now, what are these external factors? So I made a list of what I feel influenced me and my values, and they are my parents, my religion, Abu Dhabi, which is where I grew up, the school I went to. So I went to an American international school, and that international community definitely played a role in the way I see things. My mixed Arab and Pakistani culture 100% has an impact on what my values are. Going to university in the UK, social media, and lastly, my own reflections on past experiences. You know, looking back and realizing, oh, okay, no, that was wrong, and therefore this is right. So therefore, self-reflection. So now that I've come up with this really long list, I'm starting to realize how many external things have influenced who I am today. But I don't recall ever filtering out the good influences and the bad influences. And so I thought now would be a good time to start doing that. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to leave you with two questions to reflect on before you move on to the next episode. So the first question is, where did your values come from? And what external factors influenced you? And the second question is, what is your definition of a good person? What values does that person hold, believe in, and live up to? So I want you to think about that. I highly recommend that you get a journal or you write something down. And if you're not gonna write about it, then at least talk about it. Share it with your parents or with your siblings, with your friends. And if you don't have friends, then you can share it with me. But feel free to leave your thoughts and your reflections in the comments below. And if you don't want to put it there, then you can email me or you can message me directly on Instagram. I will leave all the information in the description below. But please share your reflections with me. I would feel so honored to read it and have a conversation with you. Anyway, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you are notified when I upload episode 2, where we are going to reflect on how our values influence our actions. And until then, I'm still thinking of a slogan, so just keep smiling. Oh my god. They say just be yourself. I'm being myself. Allow me to cringe. Leave me alone. Go away.